Imagine a world of driverless cars and effortless interaction with information. Virtual reality rooms designing with light. Creation is now as easy as printing a document, while wearable devices track our health 24/7. The smart technology revolution has only just begun.
We are living at a time like no other time in history.
This digital generation is really like nothing we've seen before.
The model of work is changing. Are you ready for the new world? Content is the new currency.
We don't know what jobs are going to be in the future, but the best thing to do is to imagine the what if. What if this was going to happen tomorrow?
We in the house now for sure, baby. Yo! Start on
The Alternative with Zanele Modiba on The Collective.
You need to think about needs, not trends. Needs, not trends. Think about solving the need that people have now. And you need to make sure that you are global ready. You sort of future-proof.
The future actually does belong to those who are game changers. If you are not going to be part of the solution and you're not going to seize the moment, you're going to be left behind.
It is really about UX, user experience, going into the future, how man and machine start working together. The more we move into a digital phase, the more we have to reach out and touch humanity.
Tomorrow's economy is tech-heavy and labor-light. Machines are not just imitating our muscles, but also our minds. If your job can be automated, then expect to be replaced by a robot. But how do we make sure that the promises outweigh the perils?
My name is Graham Codrington, and I'm the founder and international partner of Tomorrow Today Global. When you do have a parenting workshop, you get a mix of generations. Parents are at the forefront of engaging with the future. When our children ask us, what should I be when I grow up? They are really asking, what is the world going to be like in 2025 or in 2030?
10 years ago, there were no social networks. 15 years before that, there was no World Wide Web. Web developers, data miners, and even text messages did not exist 2 decades ago. And the way we do business is about to get even more interesting. So what can we expect? Well, US think tank Sparks and Honey say these are some of the jobs of the future. You get the corporate disorganizer who shuffles through a hierarchy of a company to create organized chaos, much like a startup. You get the personal digital curator whose job it is to go through all of your social media and apps and make sure everything's in order. And then you get the crowdsourcing specialist, and their job is to make maximum funding for that special idea.
I don't think people are going to think of employment as having one job with one company for an extended period of time. I think there are going to be a lot more freelancers. Companies are going to only want to use people when they really need them and to use only the people they really need.
The world's largest freelance talent marketplace has 9.7 million registered freelancers worldwide. And a recent report by software company SAP says that 80% of South African companies are increasingly turning to seasonal employees.
I started off thinking I wanted to be an investment banker, and I tried that for 2 years, and that didn't work out so well just because I was stuck in a cubicle in an office looking at a computer screen all day. These days I still look at a computer screen, but it's on my own terms, usually from wherever I'm working because I'm nomadic, and even though I'm based in Joburg. So I work my own hours, I choose my own hours, and I'm not stuck in a cubicle. I work for myself, and there's freedom in that. My name is Marushka Govender. I'm 35 years old, and I'm a blogger and freelance travel writer.
The jungle has changed. It's no longer concrete. It's no longer ladders. It's trampolines. It's about bouncing up. It's about leveraging. It's about using your network.
I love traveling. I love sharing my love for South African and African travel online and in print media. It's basically what I'm about. I call myself the ambassador for South African travel. So yeah, if there was one, it would probably be me.
Your mental capacity is the only border that exists. People want to own their own time. People are sick and tired of selling their time, which equates to selling their souls. People want to own themselves. That's why offices are changing.
So we're alley exploring, and this is a little alley in Braamfontein. There's a whole lot of street art pieces here that talk to poetry and literature about Johannesburg. There's lots of life lessons that you can learn just by walking the streets of Johannesburg.
The word career is now as outdated as a typewriter, replaced by short-term contracts, assignments, and gigs. Reward is based on performance and not the amount of time that you spend in the office. And teams will resemble film crews. Each person has a specialized skill set, and when the job is done, the end. They all go their separate ways. The pace is fast, relationships short, and you need to keep up.
So you have to keep up with your skills. You have to be futuristic in your thinking. I mean, I didn't have any technology skills a few years ago. It's things that I've learned along the way by teaching myself. And as long as you're adaptable, I think you can change the world around you.
Make sure that you are a technical master at more than one field. Creativity is really about being innovative, and innovation is about connecting the dots from different industry. Be an A player in one industry and in another industry, and bring them together in a unique way that nobody else can replicate. That's the currency. Imagination, creativity equals innovation.
I'm so happy to be doing what I love. A lot of people think I'm living the dream, and I guess I am. I'm living my dream. I mean, I get to travel, I get to share my love of Johannesburg and of African travel, and I feel like the luckiest girl in the world.
That all sounds very exciting and liberating, but what about the dangers? Technological advancements may also bring an end to human activity. A recent study by Oxford University found that 47% of the labour market in the US alone is at risk of being mechanized out of existence.
We built them so they look like us, behave like us, and think like us. The perfect robot would be indistinguishable from the human. And that scares us.
These computer chips can sense, they can taste, smell, feel, and hear. Driverless cars are not the future. They're here, and they could soon replace truck and taxi drivers. My job isn't safe either. Complex algorithms and crowdsourced data now mean that a robot can write news stories. But it's not just the technology that's driving change. We're evolving too.
If you were born in the year 2000, you are very likely to live to 110, 120 years old. It changes the way we think about our whole lives, and therefore changes how we think about our careers. So young people entering the world of work today are bringing very different expectations with them, a very different sense of what their career might look like over time.
I really wanted my son to attend this because he loves practical talks.
Do those robots become conscious? The issue is consciousness, not intelligence.
Agela is Generation X, born post-World War II and before the 80s. Her son Andrea is Gen Y, the digital natives.
I have so many books I need to read, like I don't have time to get through them. Like I always end up going 3/4 into every book and then going on to my next, so I never catch the end.
Exactly what Graham says, the new generation. We want to read things quick, little snippets of information.
What happens is that society changes, that needs changes. So our parents and our parents' parents, from the baby boomers, you had individuals who really about take every single opportunity you get and take the hand you dealt and maximize it. And then you had the X generation who were really like, okay, let's look at this hand. Let's question this hand. Let's turn it around and mold it a bit. And then you have the Y generations. They're not interested in their hand. They're creating their own hand. They're creating their own future. I want to create my own path. They're not interested to have things. They're interested to access things. Change happens as a consequence of needs changing.
It's a very difficult kind of stage to be in when your children get to when they start becoming teenagers and they start questioning. So they look at you and, oh no, you're not as smart as Google. I know better than you. And as a parent, you want them to bump their heads. You want them to actually learn the hard way. We're in a modern age. One day, you're going to lose all that and you're going to be in tears.
In terms of workforce, we're talking Generation Y, your millennials, who are your 18 to 34 about. So they've already entered the workforce. Their kind of weapon was self-esteem. So their parents said, you can do anything, you can accomplish everything, as long as you just follow your passions. So these are the original slashies. Ask any millennial what you do, and I'm a graphic designer / author / yoga instructor / DJ. So they want to do multiple things.
A recent study found that the biggest fear of 21st century teenagers is not finding a job.
You have to go study and you've got to be able to learn and apply what you've learned. I've got to ask these tough questions.
Stop panicking so much about the matric certificate.
Your baby boomer parents were also touched about a very linear way of doing a career. So you went to school, you went to varsity, you got a good job, and if you secured a good job, you stayed in that job, and then you retired.
If the career that your child wants to go into doesn't require a university degree, why are you sending them to university?
In the future, we need to actually focus less on degrees and more on practical things. It's one thing to have a theory, it's another if you can actually make the things happen. And that's the world that we're looking for, solution-oriented entrepreneurs.
Help your children to work out how to make a career of the thing they love.
Creating your employment of the future or hustling for your next job won't just depend on your skills and knowledge. Employers will be looking for something else. That's something that makes you stand out. Creativity, personality, passion.
So you have to be flexible, you have to be amenable, you have to be able to mold yourself in situations that are uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be open, you have to kill the walls, you have grit, stay in there, be resilient.
Would you do this job for free? If the answer is yes, now know where your passion lies.
Your name and occupation?
Busi Madigizela. I'm a social worker working in schools around Clocolan and Vicksburg. I'm working in a community, that's what I do. When I leave communities such as these, I want to be able to have left a legacy that says people are able to think because I was able to listen to them. Sex is not good for young people. I was in my early 20s when I realized that I needed to change the person that I was to be constant. So I needed to choose a set of values and principles that I live by and be constant and true to those. That way, I would be strong enough to be able to effect change in my environment for the better.
The future looks bright for women. According to research, women now make up the majority of global graduates. And with employers placing greater emphasis on soft skills and building relationships, it's seen as a natural fit for women.
We're going to be doing a home visit with, a follow-up home visit, in fact, with one of the members of our community who was in one of our intervention camps. We're going to be finding out how she's coping at home and how the family is coping.
Machines and robots are very useful. They can take away the things that we don't want to do, but they can't take away the art of creativity. You see, they can't connect the dots. Experience is about emotion. A robot cannot reinvent emotion or create emotion.
It's good to see you again. Good to see you. Thank you. I think gardening is a very creative solution to a lot of things. Okay. But I also believe that it's therapeutic. And it supplements the income of a family.
So individuals who are engaged and who love what they do are able to translate to quicker results and more effective results.
It's not artwork, it's about looking for solutions on the move. It's about being able to say, okay, I'm at a school and I don't have an office. There's the shade, let me sit down and do my work and produce results. That's what it, because you're in a rural space and you don't want to be imposing yourself. You want to be the solution, not the problem. So that's what creativity is in my work.
I think innovation and creativity is going to be at the epicenter on the African continent. What we're already seeing the seeds of is that in Africa, we don't have the same resources or infrastructure as we do in developed world countries. So our innovation is solution-based innovation. And I think that is really going to be the future.
What drives me to succeed and keeps me hungry, seeing that there's progress in other people's lives. I love my job. I quit work and went back to university to study for this job.
Job hopping is definitely a world phenomenon. And it's not because people are not happy with their salaries, it's because people are not happy with what they're doing. People are not searching for the next zero on their bank balance, they're searching for the next meaning.
I want to get to the point where every single family in Clocolan can have a garden, can have a budget that is functional for each family, and can have a lawn and a tree.
Innovation, driven by the need to improve the lives of others, is a quintessentially human trait that is timeless. It's shaped our past, and with great momentum, it's impacting on the well-being of generations to come.
Want to make something different from what is existing. I'm the professor and head of nuclear medicine at University of Pretoria and Steve Biko Academic Hospital. Nuclear medicine is the vehicle that will personalize medicine. Personalization of treatment and medicine is a buzzword now.
I was diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago, and I was fortunate that they could cut the cancer out every time. It started in the pancreas and then it went to the liver. A year and a half later, it was in the bed of the pancreas again, and then they removed my spleen as well. 2 years ago, I went for another scan and they found that the cancer was spread so far in the liver that nobody could help me.
Nuclear medicine is that branch of medicine that uses small amounts of radioisotopes to help diagnose and treat diseases. And it's looking at diseases at the cellular level. You will find the disease very, very early because you are looking at it before the structure can change. Nuclear medicine can also be described in 3 F's. It is to find the disease, to fight the disease, and to follow it up.
This was the only option that actually came up. The oncologist mentioned it to me, Professor Mike Satega, that actually opened the door for us for this treatment.
The therapies that we're offering, they are currently in very limited countries worldwide, and South Africans can be privileged to know that clearly we as South Africa are also amongst those that can provide the targeted therapies, which really has got very little side effects to them.
It's a good thing that we as humans can help one another, and Mike is doing an excellent job. I can tell you things.
If you are having treatment, it should be holistic. You should make sure that your patient is aware. The awareness is important, education and training of the patient. But you should also have a rapport with that patient. Medicine and health is not complete unless you have the psychosocial aspect of it. So you cannot replace a doctor despite all the advances. Science, it is at the heart of health. It means you've got to try and do newer modalities to treat people better. So that makes us to be inspired to try and achieve the best for our patients. We don't strive to be perfect in the department, because if you are perfect, then you will never actually learn. We're trying to be the best in what we do. If you want to survive, you must be willing to change. I think my purpose, it was to develop world-class doctors, world-class scientists. And in training them, I also strive to also do one of the good research that will have an impact in our patient's life.
In some medical fields, robots are meeting the needs of the new world at a faster rate than biology could ever match. Take IBM's Watson, who can find brain irregularities faster than any neurologist's eyes. Robotic surgeons are already helping in operating theatres around the world. And at Helen Joseph Hospital in Johannesburg, there's a robotic pharmacist dispensing ARVs more accurately and faster than humans can.
The way our world now is going to be working, it's all about collaboration. And the collaboration doesn't necessarily have to be the person that you see every day. Collaboration can actually mean that it's someone who's in another country.
We are starting to find, ironically, that the more we move into a technological world, our humanity is being enhanced, and we understanding that we still need to have that human touch in amongst all of this digitized world.
People want to be engaged in doing things that are meaningful, that have high impact, and that can change societal problems. It's no longer about just changing something for me and getting a bank balance. It's about how can I get more likes? How can I be more followed? What can I do that's going to be so in-depth, so impactful? And so it's a bigger, sort of like the majority versus just me and the minority.
Technology has had a great way of being able to mobilize people very, very quickly. So whether it's for political purposes or in natural disasters, you're going to start seeing the ability to reach out being much quicker.
In April, when an earthquake hit Nepal, social media sites like Facebook rallied users to donate funds. Apps like Viber offered free international calls for Nepalese people to phone anywhere in the world. Imagine a world where technology opens the door to more meaningful work. A place where the burden of labor is shared, where new experiences are explored, new skills learnt, and where we help sustain the human race. That is the future of work.